DreAllDay.com. Now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves anybody out there, including yourself, especially yourself, as a matter of fact, to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And what we do here is we put all this together into one framework, one process that we have codified. We made a book about this subject. We have a university. You're listening to the Daily Masterclass. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to stop grinding blindly. Try to say that 3 times fast. Grinding blindly, grinding blindly, grinding blindly. I did it. Anyway, this is the syndrome that many people acquire unknowingly when they have consumed one too many motivational YouTube videos, inspirational quote memes, and stories about how athlete X or entrepreneur Y worked 37 hours straight to become successful every day for 25 years. And we just get into this, or I just got to grind, I just got to hustle, I just got to keep working at the exact same thing and doing the same things over and over and over again. And eventually success is just going to happen just because I'm doing that. I'm here to let you know that yes, working on your game matters. I hope it does, because I built my whole business around the concept of putting the work in and working on your game. But understand that the whole syndrome of just going hard and just rah and just keep pushing and keep banging your head against that wall until the wall breaks, that is some bullshit. All right, and while you do need to work hard, okay, working hard does matter. You got to work hard with your eyes open. All right, you can't do so blindly. All right, you can't just be grinding and hope something works. You got to work with your eyes open. In other words, thinking about what you're doing and what it's doing for you, if anything. Because if the things that you're doing, the things that you're grinding on are not producing the kind of results that you want produced, then maybe you should stop grinding on them. Maybe those aren't the things that you need to be doing. Maybe you might need to do something different. And this is what I mean by opening your eyes and not just continuing to grind away at something that is obviously not producing the kind of results that you want to produce. So let's get into what exactly that means. The topic, once again, is how to stop grinding blindly. Number one, have a plan for what you're doing. If you don't already have a plan, make a plan for what you're doing. Now, we're at the beginning of a year. Make a plan for what you are doing. If you're listening to this later, it could be the middle of the year. Make a plan. If it's the end of the year, make a plan. If you're just starting out, make a plan. You've been doing your thing for 12 years straight, make a plan. If you have no idea what the plan is going to be, make a plan. All right, if you don't know anything that I'm talking about, you know what a plan is, Google it and then make a plan. Make a plan. Someone once said to me, plans are useless, but planning is priceless. Translation: the time that you take to simply think about what you're doing and how it will work, even if it ends up being completely wrong. And let me give you a hint. Let me give you a secret, rather. It will be wrong. Your plans will not work out the way that you planned them when you actually did the plan. The time that you take to just think about it is worth the investment. That's why the plans are useless, because when you actually accomplish, look at any goal that you accomplish and then look at the plan that you had before you actually started and then look at how it actually worked out. Your plan was complete bullshit. You weren't even anywhere goddamn close to what was going to happen. But the time that you were willing to invest just to think about it, just to strategize and say, all right, how am I going to do this? Where do I begin? What do I do next? What do I do next? That right there is the priceless part. And why is it so priceless? One reason is because comparing yourself to the competition, the law of contrast, most of the people that you're competing against do not take the time to plan. They just start doing stuff and working hard and grinding blindly, hoping that something works out. Because again, they've been watching the motivational YouTube videos and they've seen some quote and some meme and they heard that, Kobe Bryant practiced for 12 hours straight every day for 20 years in a row, and they think they need to do the exact same thing. No, open your eyes, make a plan. Think about what you are doing. Think about how it's going to work. Even though your plan will not work exactly as you planned it, even though your plan might only be 10% accurate, might not even be that, the time that you took to do it, that is the investment that matters the most. And you have 5 investments, 5 forms of investment: time, money, attention, energy, and focus. Your brain is the most powerful tool known to man. All right, the human brain is stronger than any computer chip. It is, at least for now, it's stronger than any coding software. It's stronger than any algorithm. It is stronger than any physical device. It's stronger than any muscle. The time that you spend engaging your brain and planning is the most powerful thing that you can do. even though none of those things is going to happen the way that you thought. So the number one thing you do to stop grinding blindly is have a plan in place. Now your eyes are open. You at least can look at what you are doing, compare it to what the plan is, and ask yourself, am I following my plan? And or is my plan actually working? Is my plan producing the result that I expected? What did I not know about that I now see now that I'm actually trying to execute on this faulty plan? I'm trying to execute on this amateur plan that is definitely not working the way that I thought. What am I learning along the way? And take note of those things. Know what those things are so that when you come to something that you didn't know, that you weren't expecting, now you have the knowledge. So now you won't make that same mistake twice, because wise people don't make the same mistake more than once. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to stop grinding blindly. Decide what your KPIs are and measure them so that you actually know where you're going. This is all on the subject of strategy. And we talked about strategy in many episodes of this show. A lot of episodes where we talked about strategy. Most recently, we talked about the power of strategy in episode number 1648, just a month or so ago. And in episodes number... Well, there are other ones where we talked about strategy. Episode 1526. This is the one that I want to refer you to. 1526, how to strategize properly. And episode 1525, the day before, long-term strategy, doing what feels good versus doing what works. Episode 1486, why do people fail to strategize? Why do people fail to plan and strategize? So if any of you that had a challenge with planning and strategizing, definitely listen to episode 1486. Episode number 1285, how to strategize for your success. So as you can see, we talked about strategy many times here. Your key performance indicators. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is in those episodes on strategy, I talk about this. KPI stands for key performance indicator. And those are the things that you are measuring to know whether what you're doing is actually getting the result that you want. You decide what the KPIs are. You decide the measure of them. You decide, first of all, what is it you're going to measure? Then you decide how much of it you're going to measure. So for example, if you sell a product, for example, you could say one of my key performance indicators is how much money we make off selling this product. I think that might be a good KPI to measure. So how much money are we making? And then you can say, all right, so in the month of February, we want to make $3,000 off of this. Or in a year, we want to make $3 million off of this. And then all you had to do is measure what results you have to this point versus the projection of against what you have expected to get versus your projection of what you expected versus what you've gotten so far. Then you can factor that out and say, all right, where are we? All right, where are we right now? Measuring your current progress to your key performance indicator to know where you're going. Or even if you don't have a target, maybe at first, because maybe it's your first time, you have no idea what target to set. And then your first month you go out and you make $30. You can say, okay, I made $30 last month. If we got better and we got smarter and we have more information, we got more customers now, we know a lot more about what we're doing, let's try to make $40 next month. Then you can try to make $40. And that is a key performance indicator. How do I know that I am performing? And we all know what kind of business we're in out here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say it together. A performance and results-based business is both. You got to perform and you got to produce a result. Sometimes the performance itself is the result, but many times they are separate. Decide what your key performance indicators are and measure them to know where you are going. This is all part of your strategy and plan. So making key performance indicators in the first place is part of your planning. All right, my plan is I am going to try to sell 30 of my t-shirts. That's part of your plan. Now the key performance indicator is how many t-shirts do I sell? Now, did I sell 30 or did I only sell 25? Did I sell 50? Did I sell 100 and I couldn't even fulfill the orders? Where are you as compared to your key performance indicator? This is how you create accountability with yourself, is having these KPIs to measure your work against. What are you measuring? This is a question you got to ask yourself. What are you measuring? Why are you measuring it? How are you measuring it? And when do you measure it? For example, with this very show right here, we're going to measure how many people are listening to the show. Why are we measuring that? Because this tells us how many people are actually getting this work on your game message and how far our message is spreading. How do we measure it? Well, we go to our RSS host and we see how many people have actually listened to the show through whatever platforms. And when do we measure it? Well, I look at these stats all the time. I might look at them every day depending on where we are and what part of the month it is and what our stats are looking like. I might not look at it for a month depending on what we're doing. I might have my assistant get these stats and make sure they're putting them into our weekly reports. But we know what we're measuring. We know why, how, and when we are measuring it. And when these KPIs are not being hit, then we know we got to make a change. We know something is off and we got to make some adjustments. When you have KPIs to which to hold yourself accountable, now you can measure if and when your work is working. This is the key thing that takes you away from grinding blindly. When you are measuring if your work is actually working, you're not just working to be working. A lot of people these days are working to be working because you have consumed so much of this hustle porn. And that's what I call hustle porn, of people telling you how hard they work and how hard you got to work. And here's a story about a person who reached success, publicly noted success, and they worked this hard and they did all these things. Now you got to do the exact same thing. This is hustle porn. All right. Do not become addicted to hustle porn. They have 12-step groups for that. All right. They have hotlines that you can call to get out of the hustle porn world if you have fallen victim. All right. I know you got it all over your phone. You got it all on your computer. You can't delete it. Get that hustle porn out of your mind. Okay. Have some KPIs so you can hold yourself accountable. Know that your work is working. Don't just work to be working. All right. That's the very definition of grinding blindly. You're just doing stuff because you've always been doing it. It feels good. Maybe you even get a little bit of attention for all the hard work that you're doing, but it's not actually producing a result. That is not what you want. Remember, we're in a results-based business. We are not in a work-based business. Even though this show is called Work on Your Game, we are not in a work-based business. We're not in an effort-based business. This is a results-based business. That's the thing that you get measured on. That's the thing you get paid for, is producing a result. Nobody gets paid to work. People get paid to produce a result. You stop producing the result, even though you're working. All right, see how long you keep getting paid. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to stop grinding blindly. Murder your sacred cows. Now, we just talked about sheep. Now, today we're talking about cows. Are we getting domestic out here on the Work on Your Game show? Murdering your sacred cows. We have a masterclass on this subject coming very soon. But your sacred cows are, and you'll learn more about this when that masterclass comes out, these are usually the source of a lot of your blind grinding, are your sacred cows. What is a sacred cow? It's a habit that you don't even realize you have, but you keep doing it because you're comfortable with it, because it's easy to repeat, because you've been doing it for so long. And the thing about the sacred cow, here's the challenge with the sacred cow, they're not really doing anything for you, but you just keep doing them over and over again. So you're putting the time, attention, effort into executing on these sacred cows, but they're not actually producing the kind of ROI that you need. They are not helping you hit your KPIs. Maybe you don't have any KPIs because you're so focused on the sacred cow, and it's not producing a return on investment. I mean, if you're not getting a return on investment, you're not following the Work on Your Game process. It's 3 steps. Again, you develop your game, you show your game, and then you get the ROI for your game. So the simple question for you to ask yourself is this: where is this effort taking me? If I keep doing this thing, what kind of result is it producing? What is this going to do for me? Where am I going to go with this? How is this going to help me get to where I'm trying to go? Where am I trying to go? And is this helping me get there? And if so, how? You should be able to explain it to yourself, let alone anybody else. If you can't answer those questions, then you may be nurturing a sacred cow that needs to be slaughtered and used for beef, or made a steak out of, or a hamburger. Or if you're vegan, then I don't know what you do with them. I don't know what you do with the bodies at that point. Let the vultures come get them. But sometimes you got to murder the sacred cows. Those are the habits, the ingrained habits that you've been sticking with for so long, but they're not really doing anything for you. You got to know when to let those things go. And that time is, there will be a time to let stuff go. All right. Most of the things that you're doing, you're not going to keep doing forever. At least in your business, let's just say, because business changes, people change, tastes change, times change, and you got to be willing and able to change nimbly with them. And if you're not changing, you just keep doing the same things, then you're doing the very definition, as we recap, of today's class: grinding blindly. This is the syndrome many acquire unknowingly when they have consumed one too many motivational videos, inspirational quotes, stories about athlete person, entrepreneur person who worked all these hours and did all this and they became successful, as if that's the reason they became successful, when it absolutely is not. While you do need to work hard, don't get it fucked up. Do so with your eyes open. In other words, think about what you're doing and what it's doing for you, if anything. Point number 1, make a plan for what you're doing. Somebody said plans are useless, but planning is priceless. Translation: the time you take to simply think about what you're doing and how it will work, though you will be wrong about how it's going to work, is worth the investment. Your brain is the most powerful tool known to man. Take time to plan, and you engage the most powerful tool that you have, which is your thoughts. Point number 2, decide your key performance indicators and measure them to know where you are going. This is how you create accountability with yourself. Know what you're measuring, why you're measuring it, how you're measuring it, and when you will measure it. When you have KPIs with which to hold yourself accountable, you can measure if your work is working, and don't just keep working for no reason. That's grinding blindly. And number 3, murder your sacred cows. These are usually the source of your blind grinding. These are habits and ingrained actions that we don't even realize that we have. They're unconscious. They are and they are habitual. 85% of our thoughts and actions are unconscious and habitual. And because they're comfortable and easy to repeat, we just keep doing them even though they're not doing anything for us. They're not helping us hit our KPIs. And maybe they're the very reason why you don't even have a KPI. Maybe the very reason why you haven't made a plan. So you don't even know if your plan is working because there is no plan. Simple question to ask yourself is this: where is this effort taking me? If you cannot answer that question, you are grinding blindly. You need to make a plan, maybe not even change what you're doing. But when you have a plan for what you're doing, now you can at least know where to steer the car. You're not just pressing on the gas pedal and hoping that you end up in the right place when you're probably going to end up crashing in a scrap heap somewhere. All that being said, when you're ready to make a serious plan and follow a serious strategy to help you develop your game, show your game, and create the return on investment that you deserve for the game that you're putting into the world, we created a system called the Work on Your Game system that shows you exactly how this is done. It's a 12-part system that we codified and put together, and it is available to you as a member of Work on Your Game University. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can get started with it right now. Not now, but right now. Work on your game. Dre all day.